When we talked about this next story, the next story we're going to talk about, when we talked about it yesterday in our planning meeting for the show, believe it or not, we planned this, and someone mentioned it, we all sort of went, you what? Say that again? And it was like, how does that work? How is that logistically possible that works? How do they do that? And so we thought we'd get the team in that actually does it. So I'm very pleased to say hello, Mitchell Quirke.
Hi, Paris. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. Mitchell Quirke is General Manager at Progressive Sports Bristol and South Gloucestershire. And, well, I'm going to leave it to you, Mitchell. Mitchell, what do you take into schools and do?
Well, technically, we just bring pop-up swimming pools to the playground. So we bring swimming education right to the school.
So that's pretty much what you do. You bring pop-up swimming pools.
Yes.
And the whole point of this is because there is apparently a bit of a crisis in children's swimming across the country. Now, we'll come to that in just a second's time. So you're trying to tackle that. It's a great idea. But tell me a little bit more about the logistics of the pop-up pools. What does it sort of look like? How big is it? And how do you create it?
So, yeah, we've got some pretty major national partnerships. The first one's with Shield, the marquee company. They did all the marquees for the Queen's funeral, and they're a big company. So they will turn up a week before the swimming starts. They will erect the marquee, and then once that's up, we'll go in, assemble the pool, fill the pool, heat the pool, chemicalise the pool, and then the children are in on the Monday morning.
So the whole thing, roughly from start to creating it, takes about a week.
Yes, roughly about a week.
In terms of preps, and then how big is it?
So it is 6 metres by 11 metres and about 1.2 metres in depth.
Right, okay. And so does it look like a giant inflatable, but just with tons of water?
Similar, yeah. It is still reinforced frame. So, yeah, it's not your traditional where the rings at the top and the pool rises. So, yeah, still reinforced. And, yeah, sort of the netting around the side to hold the water.
Yeah, okay. And diving boards as well?
No diving boards, no.
No diving boards, okay. Tell me generally about the kids' reaction to it, because I'd never heard of this coming to my school, and this is the first I hear of it happening. The kids must love it.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to be able to walk out of their classroom and see that on their playground, they get really, really excited. We've got quite bright branding colours and signs around the pool, and they do get very, very excited.
So there is it's so much fun, but there is a sort of a serious side to it, and it is about this sort of crisis that exists now with not enough kids being able to swim. Tell us a little bit more about this crisis. How big is it?
We believe, obviously, being from the sporting sector, it's massive, especially over the sort of last 12 months. The more we see in the news about children falling into open bodies of water and not having that essential life skill of being able to save themselves. So there is a massive crisis around swimming, but the big one for us is water safety and having a young family at home. I'm in a fortunate position to be able to afford private swimming lessons, but not everybody is able to do that. So for me, it really does pull on my heartstrings because I've got a little boy, Ronan and Holly May, who are probably hopefully listening at home.
Ronan, Holly May!
Yeah.
Shout out from Dad.
Shout out for them, got to do it.
Nice.
So it just pulls on my heartstrings that I want them to have that life skill. And unfortunately, not every family are fortunate like I am to be able to do that for them. So yeah, it is a national crisis, and especially through the COVID years where children couldn't swim, couldn't go to leisure centres. I think the latest statistics are over 1 million children will leave primary school not being able to meet the minimum standards across the UK.
And I guess, like you say, it's some schools are able to do that. They're lucky enough and privileged enough to be able to do that, to take their whole class in their schools to a leisure centre to do it. But actually, it can be quite expensive by the time you get the kids together and you hire the buses and you have to go there and do it. The costs can build there, can't they?
Yeah. The cost is expensive. By no means am I saying that we are a cheaper alternative, but what we do is we offer high quality provision. So if you think about a typical journey for a child going to a leisure centre, 5-10 minutes queuing to get on the coach. That's if the coach turns up. Then a 10-15 minute journey. They then got to get changed. They then get up to 15 maybe minutes in the pool.
Yeah.
And then they're getting changed back on the coach, back into class. So they're out of school for an hour and a half. So if you look at that hour and a half, if 15 minutes are in the pool, you've got an hour and a quarter of lost learning time where they could be in the classroom. Where with ours, they're out of the classroom for 5 minutes, they get changed, they get up to 45 minutes of high quality instruction, and then within the hour they're back in the lesson. So the actually lost learning time is about 10 minutes. So that's the angle we go with, just because we bring it to the schools, is more accessible, and they just get a lot more time in the pool to focus on their skills.
For those schools that may not be able to have you in to do that, even though it's a fantastic service, we've talked about this gap. What do you think should be done more to be able to bridge that gap and that crisis, Mitchell, in your experience?
Yeah, in my experience, I think there needs to be more funding in schools. We know schools are underfunded. My partner's a primary school teacher, so I'm very well aware of the problems schools have got with funding, but also just even if it is making leisure centres more accessible, more affordable, I think water safety and education needs to be a priority, because it is generational. So if mum and dad don't learn to swim, they don't take their children, and that gets passed on. We've got to break that cycle, especially with these children coming through who had the COVID years. If they haven't learned to swim, they're less likely to take their children in the future to swim, and it's a vicious cycle. So more funding, like anything, I think needs to be put into there, and just alternatives, whether it's us, whether it is again more leisure centres, making them more accessible, making them more affordable for families. More has to be done because it is a national crisis, and it needs to be addressed.
Okay, well, Mitchell, thank you so much. And before you go, I've got an idea to pitch to you. Right, we've talked about the kids, but we're neglecting the adults here. I'm thinking you turn up at a company or a business, it's a corporate thing, massive inflatable pool just for adults only. Are you in with my idea?
Yes, only if you're joining.
I will join in. Will heavy petting be allowed in the adult inflatable pool?
Well, funnily enough, my colleague actually noticed from our pool swimming rules, no heavy petting wasn't on the bullet point. So
see, look at that.
Looks like it's ready.
Look at that.
Yeah.
And then, of course, it opens up another discussion, Mitchell, which is what defines a heavy pet, what defines a soft pet.
Oh, I'm not qualified in that.
Maybe that's another time and another show.
Definitely.
Mitchell, you're an absolute star. Thank you for your time today. Much appreciated. Thank you very much, Mitchell.
No, thank you to you. Thank you.
That's Mitchell Quirke there from Progressive Sports, Bristol and South Gloucestershire, bringing pop-up swimming lessons to local schools to tackle what they're calling a national crisis in children's swimming abilities right now. All right, then. It is